truth.
Opinions are opinions.
But opinions can be incorrect.
Yes.
And I think that's the problem, is that so many women think that their opinions are valid regardless of how ludicrous they might sound.
Right.
But we don't tell women like you're wrong because we want to fuck them.
Right.
That's the truth.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, women don't get negative feedback for being wrong or for poor actions, poor decisions. Rarely, if ever, because we have an entire industry that's predicated on selling to women. So advertisers understand this. It's better to give women comforting lies versus harsh truths. That's how they sell. That's why women control 3/4 of the debt and 80% of the consumer base.
Or that's why.
Imagine living in a society where everything is in your favor, and imagine being that woman crying buckets while that very society gives you everything you need, and there is a line of simps a mile long willing to give you everything and you still fail. Seriously, everything because of politicians is overwhelmingly in their favor and they still cry because they fail.
If you want a man to fund these things for you, I mean, this is not, guys don't just, they're not a bank. They're not supposed to show up and be like, oh, hey, I'm going to do this and do this and do this and do anything else I can do for you. It's not a lender, honey. It's not a lender. You're supposed to be in a loving, healthy, dynamic relationship, and a man decides that he wants to do things for you because it's a meaningful relationship. He trusts you. He's getting from you and giving to you, and is a mutual love and affection.
No women, no peace. Women believe that unconditional validation and acceptance, no matter what they do, is unconditional love. Women hate being responsible for their actions. It's a literal temper tantrum when you hold them accountable. And yes, men aren't your personal ATM machines.
Why should men believe that women will submit in a relationship if they won't even submit in an argument?
Because in an argument, you're not really thinking clearly, I guess.
Right. Like us as women, we react off of emotions. So sometimes we do say things out that we just truly don't mean.
Yeah.
So
a lot of the times when a woman doesn't want to feel like she's wrong, she'll say something to play against a man, or she'll try to change it up because she knows she's wrong. Like, she won't admit to, like, her issues, her problems. So how are you supposed to fix a relationship? A man should not be expected to submit to a woman who can't even take a wrong in an argument.
It's a sad state of affairs for women because they have lied themselves into a lonely existence. When men are fighting to get into a relationship that lasts, women are fighting to make sure they don't have a husband at the end of the day. So really what's going on with women is justified by their own actions.
I see so much in women that drives me nuts is women who can't apologize.
Oh, accountability.
But they cannot own up at all. Like, they refuse. So much so that a guy that I dated before I met my husband, I remember we had some type of argument, and I said, I'm really sorry. I shouldn't have said something that way. And he almost passed out because he was like, no woman in his life had ever said, I'm sorry.
Of course.
And he was like, what the hell?
Of course.
And I was raised like, my parents, my mom and dad raised me to be like, when you do something wrong or you hurt somebody's feelings, and you go back and you apologize. So that was bred into me.
Hey, mama didn't raise no fool.
So but I see women, even my friends will have a fight with their boyfriend or their husband, and I'll have to tell them, listen, you need to apologize because sometimes it's going to be you.
Wish more women would wake up to their responsibility within a relationship. Can't tell you how many times I have witnessed women hop back and forth between being the hero and being the victim the moment responsibility enters the conversation.
show me any evidence of widespread oppression of women by men other than women just feel unsafe.
I look at what I've gone through and what my friends have gone through and stuff that men have done to them, and it happens everywhere.
But that's anecdotal, and there's how many men do you think out there could talk about their experiences with women, getting baby trapped by women, getting their kids taken and stolen from them in family court when they didn't do anything wrong, a woman cheating on them and leaving and taking the kids, a woman draining the bank account and taking off and leaving, women actually assaulting them and being domestic abusers, and they can't even get police or anybody to really take them seriously.
You guys believe that men are stronger than women. Why aren't they just stopping them?
I'll tell you why. What do you think the risk is for a man if there's a woman that he lives with and she's getting drunk and throwing things at him and coming at him with sharp objects and things day after day, and he finally, in order to protect himself, I know a guy that this happened to, drunk woman coming at him with a chunk of glass, and finally he threw her off of him. She went to the police and said, he threw me against the wall, I have a bruise, he beat me up, the guy went to jail.
They say that accountability is a woman's kryptonite. And it's true. Accountability and responsibility are both. Whenever modern women have to face accountability, they start to lose it. You never hear a woman say, I'm alone because of my bad decisions, and I accept full responsibility for my behavior. Why is that?
You gotta realize, because I've started taking accountability with certain things of how I behave.
Would you say that's common for women to take accountability?
At a certain point in your life, you gotta grow up.
No. That's not what I asked you. I said, do you think women take accountability? Because women like to be wrong and strong. So, I mean, with you being a woman, you knowing women, you know women. Do women take accountability?
I feel like women can.
No. We didn't ask that. We not asking. I don't want to ask you. No,
you asked a simple question just now?
Yeah.
But do men?
It's a yes or no. What? Yo! It's a yes or no question.
But do men? Do men take
Look,
accountability?
you can't.
Y'all can't even answer the question.
Time out. It's a yes or no question.
Yes.
That he's asking.
Yes, but there's a but. There is always a but.
So I was talking to a male friend of mine the other day, and he told me that women don't apologize and women can't be held accountable. I began to really think deeply about this idea, and one of the things that came across my mind is in the last 9 months or so of me being in my private practice, I have myself experienced many women, whether they came as a couple or they came by themselves, they very abruptly discontinued their therapy. And I started to reflect and really think, what was going on here? And I noticed that after I had to confront them about something, I had to bring to their attention something they were doing that wasn't contributing to the health of the relationship, they became very defensive and very harsh, and they stopped coming.
Therapy doesn't work. For the majority of men out there, therapy is the end of the relationship.
Whenever modern women have to take accountability, they start the blame game or become the victims. If you observe with a keen eye, you will also notice this pattern.
Emotional abuse? Yes, but not on Jonah Hill's part, on Sarah Brady's part. For one, posting private texts on the internet, and two, abusing and gaslighting Jonah Hill by making him wrong and bad for his own reasonable request and boundaries in a committed relationship. This is another example of women in the spotlight, like Sarah Brady, like Amber Heard, taking advantage of the Me Too movement and the acceptance of misandry, the contempt and hate for men in our current modern day feminist culture. Simply because as women, we don't want to take accountability or responsibility for our own behaviors and actions and change.
Women need to understand what a man is putting on the line when he dates or even more gets married. Dating is risking going to prison if she falsely accuses him of assault or whatever she wants to come up with, because the law will automatically take the female's side.
So if women are so irresponsible, why can't men just wear condoms? If we're so irresponsible, why can't they make the decision for us?
And why don't the women require the men they sleep with to wear condoms?
No, I get what you're saying, Pearl. I understand what you're saying.
So I want to talk about all the choices. We have so many choices, it's crazy. So you could wait till marriage. Okay, most people don't do that. Fine. You could only sleep with men you want to have. You can only sleep with non-abusive men you want to have children with. Okay, there's I know, crazy. So then on top of that, you could require the men you date to wear condoms. Crazy, I know. On top of that, you could get an IUD. Crazy. On top of that, you can get you can take a pill once a day. On top of that, there's the patch. On top of that, there's Plan B. On top of that, there's abortion. It's like, how many choices
doesn't sound very Catholic of you.
Now look at my morality. I'm saying the choices that are available. I'm not saying what I think is moral. That doesn't matter.
I get what you're saying.
So my point is, why is this so hard?
Do you know what the new definition of misogyny is? It's anything that hurts a woman's feelings. When people get used to preferential treatment, equal treatment seems like discrimination. Most women hate accountability and think men holding them accountable is toxic and unfair. Men live with accountability all day, every day from each other. We know it's a superpower.
To the women out there who like to duck and dodge accountability like the plague, it's time to step up, look at yourself in the mirror, and admit when you're wrong. Nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. But the difference between growth and stagnation lies in your ability to take accountability.
When the cash and prizes end, so does their connection to you. Women really don't care about you. They care about what you can do for them. Even if you do your best to make them happy, they can ghost you as fast as flicking off a light switch when they get bored with you or find another. If you really want true affection and loyalty, then get a dog.
How can a woman be soft in a relationship with you when you are emotionally unavailable? You are rough, angry, dismissive. She has to be hard in a relationship with you. There's no trust.
The real question is, why are we as women entertaining men like this? It has become socially acceptable for women to adapt a victim mentality. It removes the moment of introspection where you sit and think, hey, maybe I'm the problem here.
Marriage is just as bad as the divorce court will destroy a man and give her the children, half of what he has spent his life working for, and take a large percentage of his income for many years. Men, being logical, will figure out that women are just not worth the risk of all they can lose.
It's never our fault when things go wrong. And that's something that I see a lot when women talk about different aspects of life. If you pick shitty guys, it's never your fault. If you go into too much student debt, it's never your fault. Right? If you don't negotiate well when you're trying to get a job, it's never your fault. And that really hurts women because it doesn't actually empower us to take any sort of agency over our own lives and actually make decisions and be responsible for our own actions. But men have to do that because if they do not, they are not attractive partners. And that's really an unfair standard that our society has, particularly in the US. I think that that's a real problem.
Isn't it funny that when you look into the relationships that modern women claim were toxic, you find that all the toxic things they saw in the relationship were that men had traditional views of not just women, but in what a relationship should be. They chase the chads and get their hearts broken. It's not like they can't get a man, but ignore the countless number of good men.
Why is it when I talk about accountability with women, the first thing some of y'all say is, why don't you talk about men about their bodies and their accountability and their sperm? Sis, aren't you the same ones that said that men can't talk about women's bodies and that they have no say in what happens to a woman's body and the decisions that they make for their womb? So how can you, in the same breath, say that you want to hold men accountable for their bodies? See, if the arguments were consistent and women were actually consistent here, then I would have no problem in that women can talk about women's bodies and men can talk about men's bodies. Y'all want to talk about everyone else's stuff before addressing your own issues. That's the problem. If women held women accountable, we would not be in this situation, okay?
Welcome to a man's world. I have no empathy for all these women who tell the world about their feelings. It's just for attention and validation. Brothers don't fall for the fake tears. Watch and learn from these women.
Modern women hate accountability so much that they cheered when Kevin Samuels passed away. That's how much that they hate accountability by and large. But here's the thing is that because they are the product of the society that they are raised in, and a lot of them are just hive minds, then I can't really be mad at them at the end of the day. Because if you've been lied to consistently throughout your life or fed the propaganda that sells a product to you, and you believe that because it benefits you, then can I really be mad at you that you fed into the propaganda? There's examples all throughout history where propaganda has led to some of the most major calamities throughout our history and our civilization because people just believed in something unwittingly and unknowingly without questioning it.
But do you guys think that the phrase is... Actually, go ahead, Maggie. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, and to your point, MTR.
Many men these days just don't care about female tears anymore. Not every female is trying to hold out for rich Chad, but many of them are. The normal guy working his 40,000 job is completely invisible to modern women. The girl in the car crying is an average chick who could have had a regular dude. Any woman talking about a toxic ex is a walking red flag. She chose him and stayed with him through all the toxicity. Thanks for watching Male Imperium. Please show us your love by subscribing to the channel using the bell icon. We're also up for debate and some healthy banter, so don't forget to comment under the video.